welcome back to season 2, episode 3. And today I have with me some very, very phenomenal guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And I've scared them. We're going to have fun today. So first we'll start with my brother. I don't even call him my friend anymore. A lot of people actually think that we are like blood related. But this is my brother in Christ. I'm going to let him dive in and then I'll introduce my next guest.
A food service incubator, also known for Big John's Barbecue and the Fry Box Huntsville. Uh, yeah, that's me.
That's it. That's it.
That's me.
Okay. So, Mr. Brian, so everyone has said
He doesn't know what he's getting himself into tonight. So welcome, Brian,
Thank you.
to VRG TV. Anything you want to share with our audience?
So I'm Brian Robinson. I'm a success coach. Also have Brian Robinson Coaching YouTube channel and the host of Elevate the Great podcast.
I love it. Okay, so I did not tell you what this episode was about. This is lasting success built on a solid foundation. And so I brought these two gentlemen on because you typically see women.
So thank you guys both for coming on with me tonight. Um, and because I wanted to show you guys that there are some males out there that's doing great things in our community, in their businesses, and who's actually building other men up, but also women as well. So I'm excited about tonight's talk. So are y'all ready?
Yep.
Okay, so the first question I have for you, and I was going to do like some fun facts for the people, but let's do that in the end. So first question, what is enduring success to you? What is enduring success? Both you will answer. Whoever want to go first.
I'll go first. So enduring success for me is having, or let me just say, seeing the opportunity to use the gifts that God has given me to serve others.
Ooh.
So servant leadership.
That's good. That's good.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
you
so
do-
much kind of,
Yeah, that's a big.
yeah.
I know a coach that can help you define success.
Define success. Yeah, success is big. It's similar to what you just said. Like, success is legacy. Success is positioning myself for legacy, you know, to leave that legacy behind for the kids. But it's also, like he said, helping others. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to be the only person winning.
Whew, that's
And
it.
so if I can take some people alongside with me to win as well, then it's not taking this knowledge that I've gained to the grave, but being able to give it while I'm alive and can talk about it. So success is, you know, being transparent. We talked about it before we start, you know, like being transparent, talking about the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's it.
But being able to share that for the entire lifelong journey of meeting people, because you meet so many.
That's it. That's
I
it.
think it's super important too. I think you just really just put it out there that success should mean something different to everyone.
Yes.
It's a unique thing, and in our society, we're given examples of what success should be. And a lot of times, it's usually tied with money
Yeah.
or achievement and money,
Yes.
and it shouldn't be that
Yeah.
actually. And I think really the best way is to think about what outcome for your life do you wish to have? Like John,
Yeah.
you said legacy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
what outcome, and then how do you show up in the world
Yes.
To make that happen.
to make that happen?
That's it. That's good.
good.
That's good. And
So I heard a lot of things, and I like for you guys to take these notes, put in the comments. That way we can have those nuggets for later. But that what both of you guys said is so good, and I'm gonna do a second question that I don't have on here, but this is for both of you guys again. So you've started your businesses. I don't know if you mentioned how long you've been in business, but for those people that's watching, and you talked about highs and lows. How do you keep pressing when you said sometimes you get to this lonely place or whatever it is? How do you keep pressing? How do you keep enduring when you know that you're hitting the highs and everything feels good, but then you knock down to that low? Is there a happy medium while you're enduring this success?
For me, the happy medium is every day. With the highs and the lows is the happy medium place. You know, that kind of comes along with the territory. That's just kind of the way I kind of look at it. Like you have to deal with that as it comes. You know, every day is different in business. Every day is different. Like, you know, you may get hit with something of today. We had to be at a food truck event. An employee called out. They had the flu. We're down one person. I still have to feed Huntsville Hospital.
That's it.
I still have to go. I can't show up. We show up late. We're 20 minutes, but we still serve. We still do what we got to do. Like, you take it one day at a time, but you don't stop.
That's
Like,
it.
you don't stop until you see what you saw.
Ooh.
And that is my mantra here lately, is that I just can't stop until I see what I know God showed me, what that vision was. Like, I just got to keep going until I see it. And that drives me. The vision drives me
Yes.
to push through the good, bad, and ugly. Like, that's me.
good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you know, I think so when I have those lows, they suck.
Yeah.
You know, just to really
do.
just say
Yeah.
it. And I have to be reminded, you know, of course, the Bible tells us to count it all as joy.
Yes.
And a lot of times you're like, man, this does not feel joyous, right? But when you look back and you look at those low moments, and because now you're not at those low moments,
Yeah.
you can look back and I think part of that success in the journey is really what success is about. You can see how, you know, those low moments, I learned some things.
Yes.
You know,
It
even if
teaches-
it's who like your team, like who,
Yeah.
you know, or maybe it's like, you know what, when I was in that low moment, I didn't have anybody. And why didn't I have anybody? Well, I didn't have anybody because, you know, maybe I didn't show up
Yeah.
as the friend that I
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
right?
That's good.
So I
Yeah.
always encourage my clients to, and I do this myself, is to build your support system.
Yes.
And that should be people, it should be people that they don't have to like have the same, they're going to have their own definition of success, but there should be some alignment as far as where you're going in life, your foundational principles, values,
Yeah.
they should be in alignment, and they should know, you know, and I tell my clients, tell them, hey, when I have a low moment, I'm calling you.
That's it. That's it.
And when you have a low moment, you need to call me, right? And when that happens, you got to execute that plan.
That's it. That's
and
it.
that's what helps you get through it.
That is good. So I'm hearing alignment and do not stop until you see what you saw. I did see you share that the other day, and that is so good because sometimes we'll run into those hurdles or those low moments and we're like, you know what? I give up. You can't give up. You can't vision. This is going back to Dr. Watkins. Your vision drives you. Like if God truly gave you the vision, then what did you see? And if you haven't reached it, keep going. Just keep going. Okay. Y'all ready for the next one?
We're just getting started. Let's go.
If you were wildly wealthy because you had mastered a certain business problem but couldn't experience pleasure, for instance, would you consider yourself successful? I think we kind of touched on it, but again, if you were wildly wealthy because you had mastered a certain business problem but couldn't experience pleasure, for instance, would you consider yourself successful?
Let me go first. I will say it depends. I know with me and coaching and all the things that go along with my coaching, because I author ebooks and workbooks and things like that for people who maybe they're not in a space where they can either afford the coaching, but it's ways that lower cost efforts. To be wealthy based on all the value I put in the world,
Oh, that's good.
right? So at one, you know, from one standpoint, it's like, okay, I have this wealth because I've helped people. There is value. I would have to question, why am I not experiencing joy?
That's it.
Right.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. Actually, before Jonathan answers, my coach actually said the other day, I don't think we ever
master anything, right? It's
Right.
our industries are ever changing. So do we actually master a thing? And I just don't go after wealth because I feel like if you go after the money, then you'll lose it just as quick as you get it if you don't take care of the people, especially the most important people like your family, your kids, your, you know, the people that's most important to you. But I'll let you answer the question.
Do you see how he turned around and positioned himself?
Hey, you got some good, I mean, you have some good answers, so I'm
Man,
listening.
I I think wealth will come. Wealth will come. You know, God gives seeds to the sower, and sometimes it's not always, money, monetary type of thing, but our time, our talents, our gifts, what we sow, our minds, our knowledge. Those are seeds that we sow. One, I protect my peace at all costs. So I'm very intentional about, if this is what God has called me to do, then I protect who's around me, those circles of people that are around me. And then I place people in certain places so that they don't disrupt my peace.
ABC.
I heard a person said today, and it just came up, it was like, if I needed a fool, I have placed a person who's a fool in a certain circle. And when I need a fool, I call a fool. But, when I need somebody, a coach, and I need that coach to be that coach in that moment, I put that coach in that circle, and I know that, hey, I'm going to go get them. When it's time for me to buy a piece of property, I know who I'm coming to. When I need somebody to do, some work, some media, some locks, some camera systems, like I'm going to Marquee. Those are the things. So I really protect and value what I'm doing. So wealth will come. I don't chase wealth. I think the both of us have all three of us have agreed, but those things come to us. But enjoyment is every day that I wake up that I'm doing this. Every day that I'm waking up that I'm helping somebody. Every day that I'm waking up and I'm actually doing what I know God has called me to do. I think that's the biggest thing for people. Is that they're afraid to chase after that thing that they know God has called them to chase after. And then they're expecting to find pleasure in walking outside of what he's called you to. And that doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
And it may not, for me, I was raised going to this transparent to be, get good credit, 9 to 5, college degree, that type of thing. That's what I was raised to actually go do. But I was the grandkid who went against the grain. He started a church. He started a business. He did everything opposite of what. I didn't come from a family, immediate family that were full of entrepreneurs. And I treaded this ground on my own. And it was just me and God, but I just knew that the wind was blowing. He was leading me. He was guiding me. He was directing me, and I chased after it. So, fulfillment is every day that I wake up.
That is good.
Money will come.
It's
gonna come. It's gonna come. And so, you guys, you cannot chase the money.
You never be broke when you're going after the will of God anyway.
That's good.
He always take care of his own. He's never going to leave us. He's not going to forsake us. That just pulls on all that biblical stuff in there. He ain't bring us this far to leave us. He ain't going to leave us. He ain't going to forsake us.
That's a run around the field.
All that stuff. For real though, he's just not going to do that. And so I don't worry about the money because at the end of the day, I know that he's always going to provide.
Yeah. And I was just thinking earlier, I think I had this conversation with my team last night after reading the book, and I was thinking, man, I did leap from my job in 2018 because I was chasing the vision that God gave me. And had I not left, I wouldn't have the Tyshawn who's over there teaching right now. I wouldn't have the Sharonda and Marcus who's launching the VRG commercial for me. I wouldn't have those people. But I sit and I think, man, what if I've been scared? I would still be making $70,000 and okay with it in content. So because I leaped, now God has tripled, quadrupled that $70K that I was so attached to, but still managing other people's businesses. So,
something else you mentioned, Pam, too. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Is you named how many more people, right? So you built a platform. You have a culture here where people can live out their gifting too through that too.
That's it.
That is so good
because he gets so excited to do that. We have literally turned over almost 8 students and have joined this firm. And had I not done that, he is full circle too. He was one of my residents at the property that I was managing. So had I not recruited him from said company that I recruited him from, and he came over and knew the character that I had. That's another thing that I want to touch on. I want you guys to talk about the character, because had Tyshawn, if I was anything other than what I was then, he wouldn't have come here. But he did, and now, like you said, he's a full-time educator, so now he's coming to fulfill that on the real estate side, and it brings him excitement. He actually said he wanted to do it for free, and I'm like, well, no, we can't do that, because sometimes it's your time, like you said, your talents and your treasure, and so you got to be compensated for what you're doing over there. But that's good. I'm glad you caught that. That, I mean, if you think about it, had you not launched Big John's Barbecue, like, you had my son who was there who enjoyed going to work. We're actually building up. Even with you coaching, people need that. God needs you to operate in your gifts and stop holding on to the vision that he's giving you. There's people waiting on what you have inside. That's what I have for that. Yeah, so character. Let's talk about character, whatever you want to say about character. I just feel like we need to tell the people about keeping your character and your values, living out your values.
So I will say, majority of my clients, there's two things I do with my clients. One is a vision worksheet,
Okay.
and I try to really encourage them to look 10 years out, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, and 3 months. Then we flip that around. That becomes the roadmap that I'm walking with them on, right? The other thing is their values, personal values. And what I've seen as the trend is, and again, I'm not saying this with any condemnation to anyone. This is just I think it's more of the cultural that we have where we become part of something, and when we're a part of it, we take on the values of that thing we're a part of. So I was military, college before that, military, and what has happened is I had the values of the branch of military I was in. I had the values of the organizations I worked for. I knew those values, but I never took inventory of my own, my personal values.
That is good.
Yeah, to actually see them. I knew when something came up, I knew that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I didn't, so,
Yeah.
and a lot of times I didn't know that emotion that I was having.
Yeah.
So I would respond. But when I took inventory and I could see my values, now we were talking boundaries before we went
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Now I know what I stand for.
Yeah.
I know what my values are. I know where I'm going.
Yes. I know where I'm
Right.
going.
So when I was talking earlier about success, you know your outcome,
Yes.
where you want to go, and now you know how you want to show up
Yes.
to that.
Yes. Ooh.
That's good.
I don't know if y'all heard Brian before Jonathan answers.
He said, man, it was so good. I got to wait a minute. Sometimes we don't look at the inner self. I think we're always pointing, deflecting, and doing things like that instead of looking at, what did I do in this situation? Or am I staying true to what I say? Am I living out my values? Instead of looking at John and saying, oh, well, he did this and I didn't, that's good.
Another caveat to that too is that I've had clients who I would have a single man, right? And because he didn't have a family, he didn't think that it qualified for him to circle values on his values worksheet. And what I would say is like, hey, in your vision, you want to have a family in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? So is that valuable to you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't see it on your value sheet. Well, I don't have one now. Well, that's okay. Just because you don't have it now doesn't mean.
Get it together.
Going back to see it before you see
you
it.
gotta practice
See
that.
what you saw.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta live it as though you've already got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
How you going to show up?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
If you, because I think he's building out, I know you're building out your brand. And I was telling him last night, I said, I can say it until my face turns red. We will be global. We will be, because that's what I saw. We will be in Florida. And no matter who doesn't believe, I know. And so, that's a part of living out those values too, or seeing what you saw. But go ahead.
Right, and that's a very good point. You said we will be global. We will. You're casting a vision. You're casting the outcome, right? And now you set your goals to meet that outcome.
That's it.
I think especially within the personal development space, there's a lot of emphasis on goals, and I'm very goal oriented.
Yeah.
But you do have to be careful because the goal can be the thing.
Yeah.
So when you don't hit that goal, then now you're thinking, I'm not successful.
Yeah.
Well,
That doesn't determine.
well, are you still moving towards that outcome?
That's
Right.
good.
Also, it's like, hey, I'm just going to set these goals, but you never think about,
How are you going to?
and how does it relate to that?
What's the plan in action? What's the
Right.
plan of action?
But your question was character.
Character.
Yes,
Yeah, we
character.
went.
I'm sorry.
So character values. Go ahead.
Character and values. So here's one of the best things I tell myself is I want to show up in the world, and of course as a Christian, I'm gonna base how I show up on being Christ-like.
Yes.
But I will tell you, I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
right? Which is why I need Christ. So I tell my kids and I tell my clients and I tell anyone else who will listen, and I'm so glad we're here because I can tell everybody out there,
The audience.
when you mess up, the next best thing you can do is go and fix it. Go and apologize. Go and do the next best thing, right? A lot of times we mess up and we're like, oh, pride will set in. Well, I can't go to Pam, I can't go to John and tell them I'm sorry, you know, because I did this thing wrong. You can. Go do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And that's part of character.
It is. It truly is. What you got? What you got?
Show up. That's the thing. Like, out of everything that he was saying, like
That's so.
just show up.
Yeah.
Show up.
Like, show up. Like, and sometimes we still miss the mark with that, you know, because we are, you know, who we are, and we're busy, and we're doing this and doing that. But at the end of the day, like, we try to show up.
Yeah.
You know, like, I showed up before I even got here. Like, there were 2 people that were a part of my kitchen that I knew I hadn't checked on in a while. And I needed to just go by just to look at them, just to make sure they were doing good. I hadn't seen them at the commissary, but I know that they were out there working. And, you know, they were just crazy excited that I came. But then on the flip side, they was just like, listen, we needed you to stop in because they're in here contemplating, like, where do I go from here? And I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
You know, and in between the 2 of them going back and forth about, like, oh, I want to stay in this brick and mortar. And the other one's like, I want to go back to corporate America. But then they have a product that is just excellent, that the people are loving. Then I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for. Like, why can't we just help you make sure that you're able to go to corporate America and you're able to go do what you want to do, but then your brand is still what your brand is and you're still able to do it. And, like, that's the gist of my kitchen. Like, we become that hub and that safe place for those persons so that, you know, like VRG Vegan, she's able to go to her job every day.
Yes.
But we're able to help keep her brand alive and help her, you know, succeed with her vision.
Yes.
Like, you know, and then she's able to scale her business and expand into food trucking and those types of things. So it's showing up. And it's showing up when no one's expecting you to show up. It's showing up when nobody sees you show up. Like, if I hadn't said it, then you wouldn't have known
That's it.
But as long as they know that I'm showing up, and, you know, showing up for the kids, showing up for the spouse, showing up for the, you know, the tenants or the coaching sessions. Like, showing up means everything.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You know, I got some stuff in the closet. I'm just like, you know, about it. But at the end of the day, you know, I push past all of the skeletons, the bad, the ugly, the perceptions of what even some people think about us.
Yeah.
And I just say, hey, you know, I'm going to show up. I make up in my mind every day to show up.
Yeah.
There's something so good about, you know, like what you were saying, showing up. And before coming here, just today, I told you before we went live, and this has happened with Pam too. I met Pam as part of when I joined the chamber. The thing about you two, and why I was so excited about doing this and being here with you two, is when you're not around, what people are saying, especially the groups that I'm in, it's so good, right? And to have people talking behind your back, but it's really good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Right? And it's just like, I was with someone today, and a really great business owner here in town, and he was like, man, have you met John? I'm like, I'm going to get to meet him today. You know, and he was like, oh, yeah, man, that's so good. You got to meet him. I was like, I was already excited, but now you said it, you know. So you know, back to character, to have that character to where people are talking behind your back and reputable people to have good character are saying good things about you, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's important. I was talking to my team about that last night. I said, if I'm speaking to them, if I go to anyone else and I say, and I'm going to use my executive assistant, for example, if I go and say, hey, have you met my executive assistant, Naomi? And they're like, she works with you. You know, I don't want that for myself. I want to treat the people right. And we can't please everybody. And again, we're not perfect. You're not perfect. But as long as you are showing up with the right character, the right heart, pure motives, then people are going to want to do business with you. They're going to want to deal with you. You got to build relationships. You got to build trust. And it starts with your character. I truly believe that. It starts with your character and how you show up in the world. And I heard you say that. I think I heard both of y'all say that. How are you going to show up in the world? Are you going to show your true gifts, or are you going to, show them otherwise? So.
One more thing.
No, it's good. You come on. You come on. Because I feel like the people need to hear it. There's a lot going on in the earth right now, especially for the next generation. And so that I'm doing this also for them. And I don't want to call the generation lazy, but we have a lazier generation. We just, there you go. I'm sorry. Y'all are not lazy. The next generation is different. And so we got to show up as the leaders that we are and pour back. So however many questions and whatever we need to do to get it out there so that we can help the next leader or the next generation, I'm good. But they are different, very much so.
I will say, whenever I start feeling, because we have a lot of examples of, upcoming generations that are doing, not necessarily doing things the way we're doing.
Yeah.
And, and I've been so charged with porn, all right, the only way they're going to learn is from me.
Yes.
Right? But I will say, whenever I need to get whenever I need to just feel good, I go to Chick-fil-A.
Because those, they are,
And I'm
yeah.
like, but I think that goes with what I was going to say. It goes with what you've done, with the culture that you've built here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the culture that you're building in your business, John, the culture that I want to build in my
Yes,
business,
yes.
right? And when I said one more thing, when it comes to character, if you don't feel like you are stepping into the person that you want to show up to be, definitely look inside, but also look at your friends. Who are you hanging around with?
Oof, that's good.
There is really something true about, and of course, we see it in Scripture, basically, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Oof, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's just good.
I ain't got nothing to say. Show me your friends.
And I'll show you your future.
Mercy.
That is good. So what Mr. Bryan is saying is your circle is important.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. Your circle is important, and your circle is important. Then we're going to leave it at that. We're going to roll into the next. It's really important. Seriously. I'm going to sit there for just a second.
Please, because I was just about to say.
Before we go to the next question, your circle is important. A wise man once told me that oftentimes we will friend people that we were meant to mentor. Do you believe that? Sometimes you have to friend up on certain levels. And so so sometimes people are sent that you're supposed to mentor, Mr. Bryan and John, and we are trying to make it be a friendship, and it's not supposed to be. That goes to speaking to people who are in your life for a season. Well, why are they there? And what did you do? How did you pour? Did you hold on too long? Those types of things. So do y'all want to touch on that for a minute? He's looking at you.
I try to keep myself always in a position to where, at one point I did not value the importance of relationships. And I didn't value the importance of friending up with people that are where you're trying to go.
Oof.
And it took me a long time to get to that place to where I was able to get past, I'm okay with being down here and we're all on the same level.
Yeah.
But if we're all on the same level,
Then something.
how am I ever going to get to, how are you going to ever get to that next place just staying at the same level with everybody else? You at the table, everybody eating steak.
Yeah.
No, I need to, let's just simplify it. I want to be at the table and everybody eating steak, and then there's somebody eating caviar and lobster, and I want you to teach me how I can eat that, because all I'm used to is eating steak. And everybody at the table is just eating steak, but I want you to teach me how to eat something else. Introduce my taste buds to a different appetite. And it took me valuing relationships. That same person that you met with today, that's me friending up. It To him, it may not be, but to me, that's me friending up. Like, if there's not a business idea that I don't have, that I don't run and buy, Pam is a friend up for me. You know, and she may look at it as, you know, we brother and sister type of situation, but there's not a sign that I want to put on the building that I don't run it by them because I want them to look at to see, you know, what your eye is. You know, I text them, I was like, what do you think about this sign? Like, I know what I see, but what do you see?
Yes.
And they're like, no, you need to change this, move this over here. Or maybe you don't need to let that be, you know, a white sign because it may be washed away with the gray background of the paint. Like, it's simple stuff like that that, for me, I'm just excited about.
Yes.
Man, I finally see my sign on this building that I've been, you know, and I'm just like, go. But the value of friend, but somebody that was sitting down here on the same level as me, they'd be like, oh, that's great.
Yes,
Oh, that's you know what I'm saying? But no, it's important to friend up, serve down, always serve down, always serve, just period.
Yes.
Just serve, yes.
Just serve, period. Like, you friend up, not to say that you ignore, you know, the friends that you do have around you in these circles, but, you know, always try to elevate your relationships. Like, always try to find someone that you can friend up with.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to use Kim Lewis as an example. I actually think I emailed her some years back. I don't know if you remember this, Kim. Kim, I hope you're watching. If not, I'm going to tag you. But I emailed her a few years back. Sometimes I feel like it's something as small as saying, hey, you inspire me. And at that phase and stage, I don't think the businesses, she didn't have as many. She saw the vision at that time, but they weren't in place yet. And now look at her. And I am just so proud, is because she is somebody that I can look up to and say, okay, you're making billions. How do I do that? Help me to see. And so what do I watch? Her character. She walks through spaces. She doesn't feel like she's too high to speak, to serve down. She will give you whatever strategy it is that you need, and she protects her circle. And so so I'm just going to use her as that example of.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. You know, something that I've realized too is no one at the next level where you're trying to get to is going to tell you how horrible you are.
Yes.
Most of that, if you get that,
Yeah.
it's coming from people below.
That's it.
The levels below you. And I'm not trying to say that we're better than anyone else.
No.
But when you're in business, there are levels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We just
Most
be real
definitely.
about it. There's
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah.
And it's the people that are trolling are not the people that are
Yeah.
at the next level that you're reaching to.
That's good.
The other thing too, and so that's super important for any up and coming entrepreneurs, and maybe even ones that are already up there, but they're looking at the next level, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get that. The other thing too is that I think you both are this type of knowing what I know about you guys and what other people have said about you, all the great things. When you meet somebody that's at the level that you just came from, how does that feel when they're asking you for your advice? Like, and you're serving them in that way. Doesn't that make you feel good?
It does. I have noticed that sometimes people that was on the level that I was on prior to, sometimes they're afraid to ask, or they're like, oh well, I don't know. I won't say envy. It could be, but sometimes they won't even ask. And sometimes if you are in that space, you'll hold yourself back, especially knowing the people, not boasting or bragging, but I know that I serve down, up, and all around. So I'm going to give it to you because I know where God brought me from. Right. So I don't want you to stay stuck and stagnant. I want you to make it to my level. Sometimes I want it as bad as the other people. I want to bring you up, but sometimes God is like, we read a book called Taking the Elevator by Pastor Conaway. It's like the conversation's not the same when you're going to that next level. Right. So deuces, kind of like, not really that, but if your conversation's not changing to get to that next level, if we're still gossiping on this level or doing those things, then let me go ahead and take that elevator to that next phase because I've surpassed this.
Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody
everybody doesn't have the capacity to go with you to the next level. Like it's, it's like a rocket ship. You know, that rocket ship got rocket boosters that help that rocket get off the ground. But once that rocket reaches certain altitudes, those boosters fall off. That rocket keeps going, but it's only the people that's still in that rocket that have the capacity to get to space.
That's it.
And at the end of the day, I've learned that not all people have the capacity to go where I'm going, and it's okay if they don't. I still love the people that, go with me as far as you can go.
That's it.
And if you can't go any further, I'm not mad. Don't look
I still
down on
love
you.
you.
Don't feel some type of way about it. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with it. But I think the problem is they're not okay with the fact
That's it.
that they don't have the capacity to go with us to the next place.
Yeah.
But then that goes back to you have to look within yourself to
Yes.
figure out why do
Have
they
I-
have the capacity to get to a certain place, but I don't have the capacity to get to that certain place.
Right.
But then that's an inner thing. Like you got to start working on that thing
Inside.
yourself. See, I know when to shut up and not be me right now in this moment. I know when to learn. I know when to sit down. I know when to get wisdom. I know when to be slow to speaking, quick to learning. Like I know when to, if I'm in certain environments with certain people, certain business people, and I'm there because God's graced me to be in certain environments, then I know when to just kind of sit there and soak in. Because sometimes there's something that God's trying to tell me in those moments. He's not wanting me to be Jonathan, but it's those moments that I gain that wisdom to help me get the capacity. Sometimes we just don't know when to be quiet.
Discipline.
We don't
That's
know. Yeah, we
Discipline.
don't.
You know,
we
it's not a mistake that God gave us the word discipline and disciple.
Man, absolutely.
And the thing about it is, a lot of what you said is, I know when to not, when the whole space, we call it whole space in coaching, right? There's plenty of times I'm sitting with a client and I'm like, I know the answer, I can just solve it for them, but that's my will,
Yeah.
right? That's not helping them. That'll help me and make me look like a hero. No, they are the hero, right?
Yeah.
I'm serving them.
Yeah.
But that's discipline. And I think a lot of people in business don't realize that, I hear people, I think we all grew up with people saying, you got to be real,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, real doesn't mean you can say anything you want to
Yeah.
anybody at
That's
any
it.
time.
That's it. Be quiet.
Yeah, yeah. Be quiet, be still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to take that muzzle off. Sometimes you need to put it on and keep it
yeah.
out. Some of us listen to respond and react, when sometimes you just need to listen just to listen.
Right.
I think that's important
Yeah.
that we are okay with being in rooms and not having a platform to say something. Man, like just embrace the moment. We can gain so much more wisdom and so much more knowledge if we just come in environments and embrace the moment. Like we have to learn how to embrace the moment.
Be present.
Be
mindful.
present.
Yeah.
Show up
Be
and be quiet. Show up
Yes.
sometime and just be quiet. Like you'll learn so much, and then but what I learn, I can take it back to the persons that are still in those circles of coaching
Yes.
and mentoring,
Yes.
and I can say, well, hey, I was just at a situation,
Yeah.
and I was prime example. I was, and I don't know if you guys have watched the Netflix movie, the McDonald movie. It's about McDonald's and how they got there started. And I watched that movie over and over again because it does something to me when I watch it. And I knew that it was a real thing, but I didn't know it was a real thing until I was standing next to a broker who was talking to somebody who was needing to put a McDonald's somewhere in Huntsville. And he looks at me and he says, well, this is the level that you need to get on. McDonald's is not in the restaurant business. They're in the real estate business, and they just so happen to sell Big Macs to pay for their real estate. And it just hit different when I was in that moment and I just was quiet.
Yes.
And I'm hearing you on the phone with a McDonald's franchise,
Yeah.
and I'm a restaurant owner. It's in that moment that it clicked that, hey, Jonathan, you can't be in business and not be in real estate.
That's it. That's
Like it was in that moment that it clicked. Like I've heard it, I've watched it, I've seen it, but it was in that moment where I was just quiet next to somebody who's where I'm trying to go, and he says, this is the level that you need to be on. It was in that moment that it clicked. And, I could have walked away. I could have started talking to somebody else,
Yeah.
but it was just like, sit here,
That's
just
it.
listen to this
That's it.
conversation.
That's it.
And for him to turn around and look at me like, I'm like, okay. And so in my mind, I said, this next space that I get is gonna be my last lease. Like, I don't plan on leasing nothing else. Like, I just feel like it was in that moment that it set on me where I said, if I don't own the land, I'm not gonna do the deal. And it was in that moment where I was just like, you know what, this is gonna be my last lease. And so when they approached me about how long of a term did you want, I said, I wanted 10 years so that I can stretch it to make sure that we're good, because this is my last transition. You know, the next space is gonna be my own land, my own building, my own everything. So, yeah.
Embrace it.
Embracing the moment, like, gets you so much further.
Embrace it and soak it in. That's so good. And I think that he had just watched that documentary about this McDonald's, because he called and he said, I'm not leasing nothing else. I'm building. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. He saw it before he saw it. But okay, that was good. Y'all need a little break, a little water. Just kidding. They don't get a break. They don't get a break. How often should an organization assess its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to understand its current business climate? Yep.
Want me to take it, John, first?
You can.
How often?
I'm eager to know what somebody else's opinion about this one is.
So I have this thing where I feel like if I don't answer a question, then I got to answer your question. So I'm going to answer your question. The question is, any business should be at least once a year.
Yeah.
But in reality, once a year, and then it depends. It depends on the industry you're in. It depends on your market. It depends on your business size.
That's correct.
There's so much that it depends. You know, with real estate,
Yes.
right? Now, you're the expert in real estate. So that's one thing I learned about coaching is the client can be the expert. I just got to know you're the expert and listen and ask you questions.
That's good.
So in real estate, paying attention to many of the factors, right?
Yeah.
The market, the interest rates, I'm assuming.
Yes.
There's, just so much, right?
Yes.
And so your SWOT is going to be a little different than my SWOT, right? Your strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats.
As well as his.
As well as his.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be different. So there, I don't think there's a correct answer, but your answer was spot on. Is whatever industry you in, that's when you would decide when to assess those things.
Yeah.
I forget where I always borrow.
I love it.
From other industry experts. And so when I rolled out my goal sessions for my agents, we do it quarterly. The market is ever changing for us. Like literally, clients were offering $100,000 over ask, and now at a 3% interest rate, we're now at 6%. But the house prices are lower. Would I buy in the previous market? Absolutely not. No, I would not pay $100,000 over ask. But for you guys that did, you know what? You got your home. Congratulations. But I wouldn't do that because
It did make sense.
it wouldn't make long-term sense. And trust and know that we had those conversations with our clients that, hey, it was a bidding war. And some buyers got frustrated and all these things. I won't go too deep into that because I don't like to talk publicly about those things, but the people need to know. And a lot of people are afraid to buy now, and I'm like, why would you be afraid to buy at a 6% interest rate when people were just paying $100,000 ask and there was 15 offers on the table? So so you have to, quarterly is what we do.
Yeah, but I think for if you're going to start a business, have a business, you need to say, I'm going to do a SWOT at least once a year.
Yeah.
Right, but other than that, it depends. And then it might just be, you get your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. If the feds raise the interest rate, that might be a threat to your clientele, and so you assess that part. Right?
There you go.
So this is a threat. What are we looking at here? Do we need to do things a little differently?
Yeah. Even when it comes down to not just our clients who bought those homes and what do we do now that the market has shifted? How do we approach that? It's even in my business. Like, what do I do as a small business owner who have self-funded their business? What do I do now that the climate is, we don't have buyers running to buy properties. It's a little slower, but because we're just so blessed, we're still doing deals. But what if it wasn't? What if that wasn't the case?
Right.
You know, what do I do now? How do I pivot? And I think it's just a matter of going back to character, how you show up, and then doing my SWOT. Okay, what are my strengths? Do I now need to step back in, train my team as the expert who's been in the business for 7 years? What do I need to do? How do I need to pivot? How do I pour into my agents so they can sell more? Those types of things. So.
And keep it aligned with your outcome.
Keeping
where you're going.
alignment. I keep hearing you say alignment, and alignment is so important. Like, how do you restructure? How do you pivot? Make it make sense for your business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on me, huh?
It's on you.
There are different levels in the food service business that have to be evaluated. I'll put it like that. And so for a new person that's coming on board for us, we're evaluating you off of a sheet that we add 30, 60, and 90 day. After 90 day, then, you know,
Yeah.
you're full-time, whatever the case may be, and then we're evaluating you every 6 months.
Yeah.
But then for us as a business, you know, I have an evaluation process that I actually give my employees that, you know, every 6 months they can evaluate me as the owner.
I love it.
So good.
Because that gives me an opportunity to really see and feel, you know, how do you guys think and feel about me?
Yeah.
What can I do? Where areas can I improve
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
But then on the backside of it, for the food service industry, it's an evaluation every day
Yeah.
because, you know, chicken is this one day, this
it
the
could be,
next
whoop.
morning, that somewhere else. So you're always
Yeah.
looking at price points and things like that. But as far as the business overall, me and my accountant are on the phone at least twice a week, well, twice a month. And we're talking about profits, losses, where you're at, what you made last month versus this month, you know, where were you at last year versus this, and, you know, what are goals that you, so it's like a continuation.
Yeah.
You're always looking at accounts and money and tax this and that and all this other kind of stuff. So in the restaurant business, that's just kind of a part of the territory.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
you're constantly looking and evaluating,
yeah.
but
So good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so at least once a year. But again, as all of us said, it just depends on the industry that you're in. And I think the biggest things are those threats. My threat would be a franchisee for me, especially because my company was self-funded. That would be a threat for me. So how do I pivot and still show up? Well, I got to figure out what my 10% difference is from the franchises.
Yeah.
We put the people over the properties. We go the extra 3 miles. These are the things we do, and we are big on community. Different things like that.
Those are your strengths.
Those are my strengths. So
Yeah.
that helps me with those
That's right.
threats.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then you that's good that you pointed that out too, because I've had to learn to understand my weaknesses.
Yes.
Yes.
And I hire to my weakness.
yes.
I'm meticulous and real big on organization, and you know, somebody can come in the room, move a pillow, and I can say you've been in the room, and they's like, how you know? Because I put
'Cause
the
you moved the
pillow a
pillow.
certain type of way,
Yeah.
and I know that you've been in here.
Yes.
You know, that's just me. You can come in and bump my shoe. I put my shoes same spot, keys same spot, phone same spot. It's just a discipline that I had to do. And when I say, well, I normally put it here,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
all the time. Somebody moved it,
That's it.
and it wasn't me.
That's it.
But I've learned my weaknesses. And when I'm weak, I have to say, hey, you know, let me hire. I'm good at organizing. I'm good at that. But it got to the point where the businesses started being a little bit too much, and
Yeah.
my administrative skill is just awful now.
Yes.
I'm not able to keep up with, you know, people and tenants and clients and run a schedule
lot.
and catering and this and that. And I'm just like, okay, at this point, we need to hire somebody.
Yeah.
So I gave the phone away and started another email address and hired an administrator, because I've learned that, you know, this is now a weak point.
Yeah.
And sometimes our strengths today are not strengths tomorrow.
That's
Right.
And we have to
that's
be
good.
comfortable
So
with
good.
being able to say that, hey, it's okay to be strong here today and not strong here tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you get not strong here tomorrow, you need to also have enough wisdom to say, I need to put somebody that can be strong in a place that I'm no longer strong in.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, we've hired people that I normally would just kind of handle this stuff on my own. But now I'm saying, you know, hey, call Eddie.
Yeah.
You know, I need a catering job. Call Eddie. I need the food truck. Call Eddie. You know, but that's normally me at the house doing invoices after a long day.
That's it.
And, you know, the kids want you to sit down with them, but you can't because you're still working. But, like, boundaries, setting boundaries, understanding your weaknesses, staffing to your weaknesses, you know,
That is so
good.
good. That is so good, because he said it before I could. I was going to say that goes back to boundaries.
Yes.
Even with, like, we have this relationship to where we know. Like, sometimes we'll try to help out if we can. Like today, he was like, oh, yeah, sis, we got that coming up. Let me get you in contact with Eddie. I don't care that I have his phone number. I'm not going to abuse. I value our relationships. I'm not going to abuse that. So, yeah, give me Eddie's number so that I can then give my executive assistant to reach out to him, because that's using the resources that we put in place as well. He was looking for a property, not to put all his business out there, but he was looking for an investment property. And I asked Kim, I said, hey, Jonathan's looking at this property. I can't get to it right now. Can you run the comps and send it over to him? She did that. He wrote back, hey, what does it look like? What are your thoughts on what I should offer? Like, even not abusing the relationships, value the people that God has put in the place that you, I mean, he's given these people, whether it's mentor, mentee, friend, brother, sister, I don't care who it is, value that person in their time and how, because we put in the time. I'm sorry. I don't care what nobody else says. I put in the time.
Right.
I pour. And I'm saying this because I know what God has done for me, and I know how I show up for people. And so make people value and respect those boundaries.
Yes.
That's
You finna say something.
No, that's good. Because when you're talking, I thought about me and my attorney, and I hope she's watching because she can vouch for it. The whole entire time I know she's an attorney, we friends. So if I text you and I'm like, hey, you know, what you think about this? You know, you always text me back, and for years you text me back, and I ain't never had to pay no fee to talk to you. And, you know, all of a sudden, you say, go to my calendar and set an appointment. And I'm like, huh? We ain't never did this. I'm saying this $75 to talk to you for 30 minutes. I'll text you in the middle of the night and be like, and you be like, okay, you know. But it just hit me like, okay, John, you know, you got a standard for your business. They got a standard for, and you know, again, that may be them setting that boundary.
That's it.
And you know, I'm thinking like, man, how much money did you actually miss by not charging me those sessions? But now you're, you know, strengthening your business. So the next time I wanted to talk to her, you know, I went online, paid my $75, you know, but valuing people for what they're worth, like, you know.
That's it.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. I think it's almost disrespectful.
That's it.
When you don't value a person's worth, friend, family, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm never showing up to Pam. Would never show up to Brian looking for something special because we've sat on a platform together. Like, your price is your price.
That's it.
You know, your value is your value, and if I want to deal with you guys on that level, then I'm gonna pay the cost.
And you know, something along that same line, something that is a pet peeve of mine, that if you want to show me that you don't value me, show up to a standing meeting that we have late, consistently. That's the way you show me that you're not valuing me, right?
That's good.
And that's something too, I love, you know, we showed up here and it was way before time, and I'm like, I love it, right? But, and you know, and people make, you know, things happen. Life happens. But over and over and over, and that sends a, like for me, it's just the way I'm built. I'm like, you don't value me. You showing up late all the time.
That is serious. Like, and you know, we're being transparent always.
Yes.
Right. So I struggle with that. I did. I struggle with it. We're gonna use my hairstylist for example, Brianna. I'm literally on two wheels trying to head to Brianna's, but it's the fault of my own. Because I am one who, if I get into work, I'm in work. And I don't want to pull away. But that's not Brianna's fault that I can't pull away, that I can't put that boundary in place to shut it down because I knew I had an appointment 3 weeks ago. Because let me tell you, you got to get on Brianna books. But anyway, so Brianna's always booked out, so I can't miss that appointment. But how much do I value my stylist if I'm still sitting down, knowing it's going to take drive time 15 minutes to get to her, but I'm leaving 10 minutes ahead of time, so I'm running 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
So work on you. I know that that's a me issue, so I can raise my hand and say, you know what, Brianna, I'm sorry, but I love you and I value your time, so I'm going to get better. I'm going to do better.
That's right.
Sometimes I'm just getting dressed. I can't figure out the outfit I want to wear. So, you know, but seriously, that's me being able to look in the mirror and say, Pam, no, this is not how we're operating in the seasons to come. Like, if we're going to have, he got something to say, or there's the cameraman is saying something smart behind the camera while I'm talking. But if we're going to get to millions and billions, we got to operate like we're already walking in it. And so how do you do that? You value the people that God has placed in your life.
Were you going to say something, John?
Come on. Yes, he does. Come on, give it to us.
I'm not gonna say.
I do want to point out something that you did. You said you would raise your hand and say, "Hey, I value." You articulate. You communicated with her too, right?
Yes.
And that's a really good point. And to walk back, you know, if I have a standing meeting with someone, clients, whatever, and they're always late, it is a responsibility for me to communicate my expectations.
Yes.
Right.
Setting, that's so good, Brian. I'm gonna let you finish, but setting the right expectations is so important. It is. Did Brianna want me to be late? Absolutely not. She has kids too. And I'm saying this because a lot of people will abuse that. Even down to, if you say your office opens at 10, open it at 10.
Right.
If it closes at 4, close it at 4, not 3:30.
Right.
So that's, again, valuing even your business. How much do you value your business if you're shutting down 30 minutes to an hour early? Oh, because you ran out of wings or whatever it is. No, communicate that, but I would still stay that time, or at least put something on the door that says, hey, ran out of wings early, shutting down. This man right here, I got inducted early in the year on the board. He put out a communication that his sister is being inducted and that he's closing the business. But he valued his customers, so he's communicating that.
Yes.
So that's important. I feel like I'm getting a little, because this is touching.
Oh, this is good. The other part too is that if you are in a relationship with someone, whether it's married, if it's a client, business relationship, whatever, and you know that other person has a habit of being late, reach in, and I have to tell myself this over and over, reach in and how can I work with them?
That's it.
You know, do we have to adjust the time? Do I have to just tell them that the meeting is going to start at 5:15 when we're really going to start at 5:30 just so they can get there early?
Nope.
Like, what do we need to do?
How do we work?
Yeah, how do we work?
No, it's that person. They need to put the computer down. If you know that you're a workaholic and you are in the middle of something that's time consuming, don't pick it up if you know you're not going to be able to make that next appointment on time. If you know that you have a chatty client or friend who's calling your phone, do not answer chatty client or friend. Don't answer because you know you have a standing meeting in 30 minutes. No, become a better you, a version of yourself. And I am always transparent. I could care less. I don't look at other people's opinions. I am able to say, hey, woe is me.
Yeah.
That's me. Girl, pick out your outfit a week in advance if you know that you're going to be running late 3 days later.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. You got to work on you. You can't fall. And it's not your responsibility to tell the person, oh, it's at 5:15. They still going to be late. They still going to be late because they're just still going to be late.
Right.
So we're not making excuses. We're going to be great people, right, audience? What you got to say, John? You got some good in there. I feel it.
If you know you want some Big John's wings before we close, I'm going to need you to call me before 15
He's talking
minutes.
to the audience. He is not talking to me.
That's the only thing ringing in my head. I'm thinking like, do you remember all them times?
But I'm better.
You are better. You better now. Woo.
The Lord,
She's a whole lot better now. Our team used to know what that last order of the day was when it came through the window. We knew what it was. And it'd be like
a big order.
But we knew when that order came through like that, we were like, everybody in the kitchen be like, that's Baz. That's Baz. No.
You're better.
You are better now. You show up during lunch hours and not closing
Don't
hours.
call Big John, because he ain't talking to me. Do not call Big John at 6:45 and he closes at 7.
Don't do it.
Okay? No, but this is good. Like, it's good to be super transparent and talk about those things.
Yeah.
What else we got on that?
Well, there's a business you had mentioned. You know, if you say you close at this time, close at that time. Don't close early. I was in a business, and no one that I'm friends with, or I don't think you guys are friends with, but we were there, and I was meeting with someone, and we were eating, and they were to close in 10 minutes, and they kicked us out.
Wow.
And the door says you close at 4:00.
Yeah.
It's 3:50.
Oh, man.
Why do I have to leave right
Yeah.
now? So I haven't been back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's seats, and then you'll lose business.
Yes.
So, speaking of which, Georgia Real Estate Commission, I decided to take my company there, and so frustrating, right? I get there, I drive all the way to Georgia to turn in the application because there was too much back and forth. They kept mailing it back, all the things. But I get there at like 4:35, but I've literally driven all the way from Alabama to turn this application in. And I call, that's the other pet peeve of mine, is the unprofessional on the phone. So I'm upset by the time I get up the stairs, but I'm not gonna, I still had good character.
Yes.
But I call, I'm downstairs and I don't know what floor to get to. And I'm calling and the guy says, we're closing in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, it's 4:35, so you close at 4:45? The website says 5 p.m. We stopped taking XYZ at 4:45. So if you don't make it upstairs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but I'm already in the building. Like, huh? And so I get up there, and sure enough, because I just had the phone call with them, they're shutting down. There's nobody at the front desk. I literally just said I was on the call. So it's like stuff like that. Those are pet peeves of mine.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna serve all the way through my time. And I'm gonna touch this last thing, and we're gonna move on to the next question. I'm trying to see how I can put it without being too. Sometimes God can't trust us on the next level. You want to know why? Because we don't serve well on the level that we're on right now.
Oh, so good.
Like,
That's so true.
we really gotta. There could have been a promotion for the person that answered that phone, but because the way you treated me, God can't trust you at anywhere higher than where you are. And I'm not saying He's gonna leave you stuck there, but you gotta treat people right. You gotta be able to serve where you are so that you can get to the next. So I'm just gonna leave that there. If y'all want to touch, feel free.
I think it's perfect the way you said it. I'm gonna take a page out of John's book. I know when to be quiet.
I know when to be quiet.
Serve well.
Serve well.
Serve well. Wrap up. Okay. Let's see. Last question. That was good. This has been good. Oh my goodness. Okay. What impact do you want to have? This is broad, I know. What impact do you want to have on the world, on your business, with people? What impact do you want to leave that you want to have? At least go first this time.
Okay, all right. Not really sure if Dr. King actually wrote it, but it was a statement that they said that he did say. He asked the question was asked to him. What would you do if you knew that the world would leave, end tomorrow? Dr. King's rebuttal was basically, I would plant a tree. And why would you plant a tree? I would plant a tree because today, that tree that I plant will eventually, at some point, outlive me tomorrow. And I think that it's important that I plant something today that will outlive and still bear fruit tomorrow, long after I'm gone. And so for me, it's how many trees can I plant? How many seeds can I sow? How many strong things can I plant that can take root in the ground that will outlive me long after I'm gone? There's a lot of people who have died and went to the grave but never planted a tree and don't have anything that even can still scream, who planted you so many years ago?
Yeah.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
In the Baptist church, that's why they keep the pastors on the wall.
Yeah.
When you go into a Baptist church and you see all the pictures, because they want you never to forget how they got to where, even if the pastor wasn't the best pastor, they still put his picture on the wall because he was a part of the process to get them to where they were trying to go.
Wow.
And I think at some point we have to get to the point to where we have to ask ourselves, what can I plan today that will outlive me tomorrow? And at the end of the day, for me, I don't want to be known for the best barbecue, the best commissary, the best food truck. I just want to be known for the best at what I do.
Good.
And as long as you know me for the best at what I do, then I'm pleased when I leave.
Wow.
Yeah, that's me. I want to plant something that's going to outlive me.
Man.
Yeah.
He should have went last. He should have closed with that. Whew.
That is so good. That was a
That
lot
was
of
good.
nuggets, y'all.
Yes.
That was a lot of nuggets.
Yeah.
The impact I want to have is I want to use the gifts that God has given me to build others, to serve others. Servant leadership, that's key. I truly don't believe there's any other type of leadership. People are in leadership positions, and they call themselves leaders. If you're not serving,
Come on.
so if you're not serving, what are you doing, right? And so coaching is one of those things that God had called me to, and I ran from it for a while, and He brought me back to it, and I love it because I get to. He's given me this gift to where I can see potential in people, and I get excited when people are touching on that potential, and they're just coming into that potential, and to be part of that and build relationships with people to where they can just really get into that gifting, and then they're going to go use it to serve others too. And I really believe it's the proverbial tree that you can, like one of the things you said is legacy, right? You want to leave a legacy. And we think of our family when we think about legacy, but you can have family. You call each other brothers, you're not blood, or I'm sorry, siblings, brother and sister, but you're not blood related, right? And that's so good. We can choose.
Impact.
Yeah, we can choose family also.
That's
Yeah.
good.
To be intentional about it.
Yeah.
And to serve, and that. And another thing I'm really conscious of right now too is to really authentically, genuinely. I think the generation now said give them their flowers, give people their flowers. I've been to many funerals, celebrations of life, to where you say something good about the person, and a lot of times they never heard that when they were alive, right? So being able to say, hey, you're one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite people. I heard so many great things.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get to know you. And you do this very well. And this was just to get to tell people that.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
good.
good.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good. Man. So I heard you say serve well, servant leader, and you want to be pleased with what you leave. That is so good. I hope you guys caught some nuggets from this episode. I think cameraman told us to wrap it up. I think we went well past time. It's 7:43.
Uh-oh, that's my fault.
So no,
this is good.
but this was some good conversation. We'll probably continue on after this episode. But thank you guys for joining us for episode 3 of season 2, building a lasting foundation. That may not even be the topic because I'm still stuck in the conversation tonight. But thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you for coming in. Make sure that you stop by Big John, Huntsville locations.
At the Open Bottle on Highway 72 on the patio. We open at 12. We close at 9.
Okay. Mr. Brian, how can the people find you?
Yeah. You can find me at brianrobinsoncoaching.com. That's my website. Also Instagram. So everything's Brian Robinson Coaching. Instagram and YouTube, Facebook sometimes.
My kids say that Facebook is for the old people. So Mr. Brian Robinson obviously is not in that category. I love Facebook. But no, thank you guys for joining us. I truly have to speak to you guys again. Literally, I am so pleased that you came on tonight because a lot of men and males will not be transparent. They won't share. And so the community needs that. And so thank you guys for pouring tonight. I can't even remember what y'all's topic is. I'm over here still trying to think about it while I talk to y'all. But no, seriously, thank you for pouring tonight and for showing up as the leaders that you are in the community. And hopefully we'll get more men to share. Thank you guys for joining. Have a good evening.